Here's a breakdown of my 2-week Japan trip by day. We spent 3 full days in Tokyo. We stayed in Shibuya, which was perfect. Instead of doing Tokyo all at once, we did half at the beginning of the trip and half at the end. I tried to spread out the super touristy things we did because there are a lot, so I could give myself some time to just explore. This part of the trip, we were still gaining our footing, and I probably could have done it better if I replanned it. Day 4, we headed out to Kyoto. Stayed in Kyoto for 5 nights, which was very perfect. I recommend that if you have the time. 4 of the nights we did at the Royal Park Nijo Castle, so it was a little bit away from the Gion district, but right across the street from JR, which was really good. We did a day trip out to Arashiyama, if you can even call that a day trip, and the last night we stayed at a ryokan, which was amazing. It was called Yoshima, and there's nothing really I would change about the itinerary. And then we also took a day trip out to Nara, which was so cool. It was like an enchanted forest. We did it an Airbnb experience tour for the whole day, so I don't know everywhere we went, but I put a few of the places that I really liked and wrote down. Nara is the perfect day trip from either Kyoto or Osaka. And then moving on to Osaka, we spent 2 nights in Osaka, and honestly we could have spent more. I think 2 nights is good if you're just looking to see the highlights. I feel like I left wanting more. I think 1 more day would have been perfect. The shopping is also so underrated in Osaka. I didn't really care for the shopping until I got here, and that's when I regretted not bringing a second suitcase. And then we went back to Tokyo and spent 2.5 days there. The last day was super packed, but the 1.5 days before that we were just so dead, so we used that time to just reset. And I wish we did that somewhere not in Tokyo, like Hakone or Mount Fuji. But overall, as a first timer, I think we did pretty well. Things I wish I did: 5 days total in Tokyo, 3 at the beginning and 2 at the end. I stayed in Shibuya the first time around and Ginza the second time around, which was perfect. You could spend your whole life in Tokyo and not see it all, but I think 5 days is good for a first timer. I recommend spending 1 day in Lake Kawaguchi to see Mount Fuji in all its glory. Then I recommend staying 3 days in Kyoto with a 1-day trip out to Nara. Kyoto was my favorite place that I visited. I did 1 day out to Arashiyama and the other 2 in central Kyoto. It is the perfect blend of old and new, and I think this amount of time was enough to see everything I wanted to. I feel totally satisfied. To account for travel days, that really only leaves you with 2.5 days left. I went to Osaka for a day and a half, and it was just not enough. I fell in love with this city. But that being said, you can do everything you want to do in 24 hours. It just feels so unfair giving this city such little time. And then with that extra day, you can head to Universal Studios. And if you're really into art, check out Naoshima Island, which is the art island. It's off the coast of Osaka. If I were to do this itinerary all over again, I would have bought a return ticket out of Osaka, so I didn't have to go all the way back to Tokyo at the end. And that's just 2 weeks. There's so much more to see in Japan. I cannot wait to go back one day and see even more. And if it's not your first time, or you just like to get off the beaten path, look up Japan's new golden route. That looks amazing too.